Okay, so once again, good morning, students under the International Business and Trade subject. I would like first to introduce myself. No, so I am Dean Maria Romana Daguio. No, I am the Dean of ABE International Business College, ABE Fairview, Fairview Campus. Okay, so I am the assigned OLC Online Learning Coordinator for this subject. So international business and trade. So as you seen in my posted announcement in the homepage of our LMS, no, I asked you to read the lesson about FDI because FDI is our topic for today. Have you read, class, the lesson? Okay, so as I said a while ago, our topic for today is foreign direct investment, okay, or the so-called FDI. As a sort of introduction, I have here a question, So, what is a foreign direct investment? Okay, class, is it your first time to hear the word FDI? So, since you are a business student, class, have you heard this word before? Are you familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay, so foreign direct investment or the so-called FDI class occurs when a firm invests directly in new facilities to produce and or market in a foreign country. So we have to consider two things class in foreign direct investment. It is not just um, directly investing to a new facilities, but sometimes class it is to market, no, market your product or services in a foreign country. So meaning to say, the FDI, no, directly invest, no, in another country. So automatically, class, those firms that engage in FDI are now so-called multinational companies. So since multinational company are companies, no, rather defined as those that exist or rather run their business not just in their home country but to other countries as well. So now we can say that FDI is also a multinational firm or company. Okay. So ito yun, no, once a firm undertakes FDI, no, it becomes a multinational enterprise. Okay. So from the word multi, many, no, that's just one country. Okay. So there are two forms of FDI. Okay. So you have to understand, class, that investing in a foreign country may take two forms. Okay, so it is either greenfield investment or the so-called acquisition or merger, M&A. Okay, so a greenfield investment, according to our presentation, no, is the establishment of a wholly new operation in a foreign country. So meaning to say, if I have a business, let's say here in the Philippines, and I'm trying to have the FDI, say in United States, no, applying the so-called greenfield investment, so totally class, the entire business idea, the entire concept of the business, no, applying the greenfield investment form of FDI is I will simply carry it to the host country, which is the US. I will just copy, if I may say so, copy the operations, the the processes, no, of the present business here in the Philippines in the another country. So that is a so-called greenfield investment. So totally new siya. Okay, but when you say acquisition and merger, no, with an existing firm in the foreign country, meaning to say, I will just acquire, no, meaning to say acquire yung puwedeng bibili, no, bilhin mo yung company abroad, no? That is a form of FDI also or sometimes merger, okay? Ano yung merger? Yung magsasanib kayo. Ibig sabihin, resources niya, resources mo, no? Puwedeng to form a common resources which is ay newly established firm na. So, dalawa sa nabanggit ko class, dalawa ang forms of FDI. Una, totally new, which is the Greenfield investment and the acquisition and merging. Okay. Example, para mas maintindihan nyo yung merging and acquisition. Are you familiar with BDO? BDO is a commercial bank, right? So, BDO, ang dami niyang na-acquire ng mga banks before, ano? So, umpisahan natin. So, Equitable. Are you familiar? Dati naririnig niyo bang Equitable Bank? Equitable.
Yes, miss. Familiar. Yes,
Familiar, right?
Equitable PCI Bank.
So before class, ang Equitable and PCI Bank, separate entity yan. Magkaiba sila. Okay. Dumating sa point na nag-merge sila. Kaya, ang naging pangalan ng bangko is Equitable PCI Bank. So you have the option class, ano, pag nag-merge kayo, you have the option to retain the names. Kasi nga for easy recall yun eh. Madaling maalala ng tao pag gano'n. So nung nag-merge sila class, they retain the names Equitable PCI. Okay? So, ang Equitable PCI, bago na. Nag-merge kasi si PCI and Equitable. Then, comes a time na in-acquire naman, the word is acquire. In-acquire naman ni BDO si Equitable PCI Bank. So, nandito pa rin ba ang name ni Equitable PCI? Wala na. Kasi the acquiring company has the option, no? Or the right na i-disregard na ang pangalan kasi they have to decide makakaganda ba sa business yung pagre-retain ng name or not. So the BDO decided na alisin na ang Equitable PCI and carry the name now of the BDO. No? So that is an example class of merging and acquisition. So merging, magme-merge lang. Resources ni A, resources ni B, magsasama lang. But when you say acquisition, totally, the entire operation, the entire business concept of one firm, no, i-acquire mo yun. So, wala nang karapatan mag-insist yung acquired company na, kailangan ganito. No. Kasi yung acquiring company has now the right, no, to all your resources, no, and even for the operation. Okay, clear class?
Yes, clear, miss.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay, next. Hindi ko siya ma-next. Wait, ha? Yan. Okay. So, foreign direct investment in world economy. So, there are two ways to look at FDI. Okay. So, what are those? The flow of FDI. The flow of FDI refers to the amount of FDI undertaken over a given period of time. Okay? Or number two, we can look at FDI as the stock of FDI, which refers to the total accumulated value of foreign-owned assets at a given time. Okay? So under the flow of FDI class, we have two outflows of FDI, no, and the inflows of FDI. So madali naman siyang, we can easily differentiate the two. When you say outflows, no, out of the country, meaning to say those FDI that flows outside the country. And then inflows yung mga papasok. Okay? So inflows of FDI are the flows of FDI into a country. So you have to also, in studying FDI class, you have also to understand the so-called host country and the home country. So when you say home country, eto class yung bansa kung saan nag-originate yung business. Kagaya sa example ko kanina a while ago. So if I am a Filipino businesswoman, no, businessman, and I'm trying to have an investment abroad, let's say US. So the home country is Philippines. The host country, it is the country wherein doon mo gagawin yung investment mo. So the host country now is the ano, Philippines or US? Class.
US.
Okay. The host country is the US. Okay. Next, trends in FDI. So ano ba ang mga trends? Okay. So sabi rito, both the flow and stock of FDI in the economy, in the world economy rather, has increased over the last 20 years. Okay. So, what are the reasons bakit there was an increase, no, with regards to FDI? So, here are those. So, firms still fear the threat of protectionism. Okay. Ano ba yung protectionism, class? So, according to this, protectionism is the economic policy of restricting imports from other countries through methods, no, such as one, tariffs on imported goods, no, import quotas, and variety of other government regulations. So in other words, class, when you say protectionism, this is the move that the government is doing to protect the local businesses. Halimbawa, dito tayo sa Philippines, syempre ayaw naman natin na ibang lahi ang kumita dito sa atin. So, ang ginagawa ng government, pinoprotektahan ang mga local manufacturers, local business owners, no? In what way? Pwede naman silang mag-import dito sa atin. It's just that the government is having tariffs on imported goods. So normally kasi mataas ang mga taripa, no? Ibig sabihin yung mga duties sa mga imported goods kasi lahat ng imported goods class, you have to remember that lahat ng imported goods na pupunta dito sa Pilipinas or binibenta dito sa atin, nagbabayad sila ng tinatawag na tariffs or duties sa US customs. Okay? So lahat na imported goods. Ganon din naman tayo pagka tayo din naman nag-export sa kanila, no? Meron lang as I know class, meron lang din mga specific na mga goods na walang mga sorry, na walang mga tariffs ano, lalo na yung mga goods na basic necessities. But normally class, no, pagka nagdala ka ng goods mo sa ibang bansa, you have to pay for the tariffs, no, or duties. Okay, ano pa? Import quotas. Meron lang ano class? Meron lang specific na or maximum na pwede kang dalhin sa kanila. So pag na-meet mo na 'yon, hindi ka na pwedeng magdagdag. Okay? So 'yun ang kadalasang ginagawa class. That's the move, no, that the government is doing just to protect the interests of the local businesses. Okay? Sa Philippines, as I know, I don't know if you already discussed this in your subject, ano, sa Philippines, for you uh, to operate, let's say, corporation class, di ba? Meron tayong requirement. The owners must, the majority of the owners must be Filipinos, no? So, pwedeng magmay-ari ang isang foreigner ng negosyo sa Philippines, pero yung particular na business na yung class, kailangan pag pina-register mo, ang majority ng owners ay kailangan Filipino. Why we need to follow that? Of course, nasa Philippines tayo and kailangan nating protektahan ang interes ng mga Filipinos, ano? Pangit naman na ang namumuhunan, ang nagnenegosyo sa sarili nating bansa ay foreigners, sunod-sunuran na lang or other factors, no? Kailangan nating protektahan. So that is the so-called protectionism. Okay? So economic policy restricting imports. Hindi sinabing pinagbabawal, prohibited, ano? Restricting lang. Ibig sabihin, hinihigpitan lang natin yung pagpasok ng mga foreign goods. Okay? Bakit? Kasi meron din naman yan locally. Okay? Pero in the Philippines class kasi, gaya limbawa, sibuyas. Okay? May plantation naman tayo ng sibuyas dito, palay, halimbawa. Kaya lang kasi, pag nag-import tayo, sabi ng government, no, mas mababa kasi, no, ang presyo kesa yung homegrown na mga palay, no, etc. So, kaya lang ang kaya lang ibigay ng government bilang tulong sa ating mga farmers dito ay mag mag-restrict ng mga imported goods and magpataw ng mga import quotas. Okay? So pag 'pag na-meet na yung quota natin na hanggang halimbawa nagbigay sila ng quota na ganito lang, tonelada ng bigas ang puwede nating i-import, so that's it. Okay? So the rest of the consumption will be coming from the local, farmers. Direction of FDI. Okay. So FDI can also be expressed as a percentage of gross fixed capital formation, or in other term, it is the total amount of capital invested in factories, stores, office buildings, and the like. Okay? So FDI can be seen as an important source of capital investment and a determinant of the future growth rate of an economy. So, mas maraming investment class, mapa-locally man yan or through FDI, no? That would mean, no, growth rate in an economy. Kaya nga, 'di ba, hinihikayat natin, no, in our country class, no, we encourage foreign investors because more investment could mean more jobs, more taxes, right? So, kung mas marami ang nag invest marami pwedeng magkaroon ng trabaho. Maraming, or may increase yung nakokolekta na buwis ng gobyerno natin, which is the taxes, no, earned from this, collected rather from these businesses, form part now of the budget of the government to finance the expenditures, no, of the nation. Okay, so next. I can see, wait ha. The sources, no? The source of FDI. Okay, so since World War III tuloy, sorry, World War II, no? The US has been the largest source of FDI. So meaning to say, ang talaga namumuhunan ng malaki so far, no, is the United States. Okay? So, but there are other countries as well na namumuhunan din when it comes to FDI. So what are those? So we have UK, no? The Netherlands, France, Germany, and Japan. So mostly class ano mga European countries. So we all know naman that European countries are really mga first world countries talaga, no? And even Japan, no? So Japan, kapitbahay lang natin ang Japan, pero ang Japan, no, in terms of their economy, talagang booming. Okay? So you know the secret of Japan class. Off topic lang tayo. Why they become successful, no, in their economy. So alam naman natin before ang Japan talaga ano lang 'yan eh. Isang tigang na ang lupa diyan tigang, ang hirap-hirap mag-grow ng mga pananim, no? So dahil matalino sila klase, alam nila hindi sila yayaman when it comes to farming. So what they did, they invest heavily on technology, no? So that is why Japan now, no, umarangkada ang kanilang promising ang kanilang economy. Okay? So still tayo, Philippines, I think since time immemorial, third world country na tayo. Na pag sinabi mong third world country, no, ano ang makikita mo sa hanap buhay, kinabubuhay ng bansang 'yun? Farming pa din, no? Okay, though may mga commercial capital tayo kagaya ng Makati, no? Pero still, overall, we are still considered as a third world country. Yung papa-develop pa lang, developing country pa din tayo. Okay? So these countries, yung nabanggit ko kanina, no, also predominate in rankings of the world's largest multinational. So meaning to say, if you're going to check, no, the ranking as to what countries invest internationally, no, sila ang nangunguna sa listahan. The United States, the UK, the Netherlands, France, Germany, and Japan. Acquisition versus greenfield investment. So the majority of cross-border investment involves mergers and acquisitions rather than greenfield investment. So most of the investor class chooses to have the M&A, no, or the mergers and acquisition rather than the greenfield investment. So balik tayo class as a review, no? Pag sinabi mong greenfield investment, totally in the host country, wala pang ganong negosyo. So yung investor, no, the FDI, no, would totally set up a new operation in that country. Pag sinabi mo namang mergers and acquisition, currently meron ng ganong business. All they have to do is merge or acquire. Okay, so firms prefer to acquire existing assets because, okay, existing, ibig sabihin, mergers and acquisitions class ha. Mergers and acquisitions daw kasi are quicker to execute rather than greenfield investments, which is true. Pag present na sa isang bansa yung business, all you have to do is study the operation, no? Or mag-add ka na lang ng mga bagay na pwede pang magpaganda do sa business rather than starting on a scratch, no? Yun sa greenfield investment. Okay, so it is easier and perhaps less risky for a firm to acquire desired assets than build them from the ground. So mas risky daw class ang greenfield investment rather than mergers and acquisition. Okay? So what we are discussing here class are the reasons why investor choose mostly mergers and acquisitions rather than the greenfield investment. And then third reason, now, maybe firms believe they can increase the efficiency of an acquired unit by transferring capital, technology, or management skills. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kaninang dagdag. Kasi existing na class yung business. So, all they have to do, no, the FDI could transfer capital. Ibig sabihin, if the existing company or business still needs more capital, then they can go with the merger and acquisition. Okay? They let foreign investors in for additional capital, okay? Or technology. Kung doon sa home country may technology siyang pwedeng ipa-adapt doon sa existing business halimbawa dito sa atin, then why not? No? So those are reasons class na bakit mas pinipili ang mergers and acquisitions rather than the greenfield investment. And sometimes class, or if I may say most of the time, the management skills. Meaning to say, the technical know-how, know how to operate the businesses. Okay. So you have learned, 'di ba class, no, in a business, no? Pwede kang maging partner by mere contributing your industry or your knowledge, 'di ba? We call that industrial partner. Naalala nyo pa? Yung wala kang na-contribute, let's say capital, but what you have is your knowledge, your industry, yung kaalaman mo dun sa particular na bagay na yon, pwede kang, you may be admitted as one of the partners, no? So we call that industrial partner. So we can also apply that in FDI. So next question. Why do firms prefer FDI to either exporting, no, or licensing? Okay, so for us to answer this one, let us first define what is exporting and what is licensing. So these two terms class are different. Okay, so when you say exporting, alam nyo naman na yan, no? Producing goods at home, then shipping them to the receiving country for sale. Tayo yung naglalabas ng products natin. Okay? So we call that export. Okay? How about licensing? So what do you mean by licensing? So licensing class is the granting, no? A foreign is the process of granting a foreign entity the right to produce and sell the firm's product in return for a royalty fee on every unit that the foreign entity sells. So when you say licensing class, no, we authorize a given firm, no, to produce our product or sell them in the host country given that in return, no, magbabayad sila sa atin, no, the so-called royalty fee. Take note, every unit sold po yun. So we call that licensing. Okay? Kasi class, mahirap din na mag-export, costly kasi yun. Halimbawa, I manufacture my products here in the Philippines and then try to export it to US, no? So, sometimes class, what they do, mag-license na lang tayo. Licensing na lang ang gagawin natin. Ano ba ang licensing? Papayagan kitang diyan na sa US i-manufacture yung goods ko, no? Papayagan kita, ituturo ko sa'yo lahat, yung mga formula kung paanong naggagawa ng ganito, so on and so forth. Basta, sa lahat ng mabebenta mo, meron akong makukuha out of that. So we call that royalty fee. So the process, no, of that operation is called licensing. So magkaiba class ha, totally different ang exporting sa licensing. All right? So clear? Can you still follow class? Are
Yes,
you
Miss.
still there? Okay. So
Yeah,
now,
we're still here, Miss.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
theories of foreign direct investment. Okay. So limitations of exporting. So the viability of an exporting strategy can be constrained by transportation cost and trade barriers. So this is what I'm telling you a while ago, class. No? Masyado kasing mahal ang transportation cost, and of course, no, to add up to that, the trade barriers. When I say trade barriers, class, ito yung mga, kagaya kanina, yung mga import quotas, yung mga tariffs na pinapataw sa atin, no? So, parang napakahirap minsan na magdala ng products natin abroad kasi parang yung kikitain natin mapupunta lang sa mga duties na babayaran natin, and of course, no, knowing the cost of the transportation sa pagdadala nung products natin abroad. So yun yung naglilimit plus, no, sa exporting. Okay. So when transportation costs are high, no, exporting can be unprofitable. Of course, kasi mapupunta lang lahat sa transportation costs. Kung kikita ka man, baka kukunti lang, no? So foreign direct investment may be a response to actual or threatened trade barriers such as import tariffs or quotas. Kaya nga, instead of doing exporting, ang ginagawa ng ibang mga businessman, no, they go with the foreign direct investment, just trying to avoid, no, the high transportation cost and trade barriers. Kasi pag nag-foreign direct investment ka, madali class ma-penetrate ang market, no, kesa exporting. Okay? Okay, limitations of licensing. So ano naman ang concerns with regards to licensing? Okay, so internalization theory rather, also known as market imperfections, suggests that licensing has three major drawbacks. Ano ba yung concerns with regards to licensing? Number one, in licensing, it may result in a firms giving away valuable technological know-how to a potential foreign competitor. Since tuturuan mo sila class how to do this, how to do that. So, parang binibigay mo na yung minsan yung mga trade secrets, ano? Pangalawang concern with regards to licensing, it does not give a firm the tight control over manufacturing, no? Hindi lang manufacturing, also marketing and the strategy in a foreign country that may be required to maximize its profitability. Benefits and cost of FDI. Okay, so what are the benefits and cost of FDI? So the benefits and cost of FDI must be explored from the perspective of both the host, no, and the home country. So na-discuss ko na kanina yung pinagkaiba, di ba? So titingnan natin sa perspective ng host country and ng home country. Okay. So pagdating sa host country, okay, so these are the benefits, no? Number one, the resource transfer effect, the employment effect, the balance of payments effect, and then the effects on competition and economic growth. Okay, sabi ko kanina, more investment could mean more jobs, more taxes, no? So, ito yung ilan sa mga benefits natin pag meron nag-i-invest sa atin. Okay? So, paano naman sa home country? Okay, so the benefits of FDI to the home country, no, may include number one, the effects, no, on the capital account of the home country's balance of payments from the inward flows of foreign earnings, the employment effect that arise from the outward FDI, and then the gains from learning valuable skills from foreign markets that can be subsequently be transferred back to the home country. So I think I missed discussing class here, no, the balance of payments, okay? So we keep on hearing this word class, no, lalo na business course tayo, no? So we have to really define or understand ano ba yung balance of payments na sinasabi. So sabi dito, the balance of payments, no, tracks international transactions. So, ito yung basehan natin class, no? Ito yung tracking natin sa lahat ng ating mga international transactions. So, when we say international transactions, po pwedeng outflow, no? Palabas, or yung inflow. Okay? So, when funds go into a country, a credit is added to the balance of payment or BOP. So, ibig sabihin class, pagka merong pumapasok na funds. Halimbawa dito sa Philippines, no, ang tracking nun, add po 'yun or credit po 'yun sa balance of payment na sinasabi. Pero kung halimbawa, no, palabas naman, okay? So funds leave a country, it is a deduction class, no, to the so-called BOP or balance of payments. Okay? Parang ganito lang class. Pag sinabi mong balance of payments, no, titingnan natin ano yung mga pabor o nagdagdag sa atin, no, as the host country or isang bansa, at bawas naman class pagka meron tayong mga binabayaran. Okay, halimbawa, yung mga foreign debts natin, no, pag nagbayad tayo noon, bawas po yun sa balance of payments. Pero halimbawa, kung may mga FDI, may mga investment na dadating dito sa Philippines, dagdag po yun sa balance of payments na sinasabi natin. So, mas maraming credit plus sa balance of payments, okay, mas uunlad, mas merong growth ang economy natin. Okay? Makikita natin class ang eto ha, sa simpleng paraan paano malalaman kung gumaganda ba ang ekonomiya natin. Doon na lang tayo sa ano, sa foreign exchange, no? USD against Philippine peso. So pag tiningnan natin pababa yung palitan. So ibig sabihin, lumalaki ang value ng peso natin. Halimbawa, in the exchange rate of 50:1, meaning to say, for us to have $1, kailangan natin ng 50 units ng peso. Pero pag bumaba yun, halimbawa, naging 46:1, ibig sabihin, kailangan na lang natin ngayon ng 46 units of pesos, no? To have the 1 unit of dollar. So, tumaas ng ilang unit ang pera natin? 4. So, from 50 down to 46. So, doon mo lang sa simpleng paraan, doon mo makikita kung gumaganda ba ang ekonomiya or hindi. Okay? Of course, maraming paraan. Pero tayo, para hindi na tayo mahirapan pa mag-aral ng ano, doon natin tingnan. Pag bumababa yung palitan, so ibig sabihin, lumalakas ang peso natin. Okay? Clear? Okay. So, there are three main costs naman. No? Kanina, benefits ang pinag-aralan natin. Ito naman, cost, no, of inward FDI to host country. Kung saan ilalagak yung investment. Okay? Number 1, the possible adverse effects on FDI on competition within the host nation. So, we are talking about, again, competition. Okay? So, you have to make sure that in investing such, kailangan ma-consider mo din class yung competition. Baka kasi mamaya lamunin ka ng competition. So, what are the chances again that your products can be sold, no? Can be patronized by the residents or consumers of that host nation. Okay? So, adverse effects on the balance of payments. Okay? What else? Perceived loss of national sovereignty and autonomy. So baka kasi mamaya, sabi nga natin kanina, masyado na nating pinapayagan na mag-invest ang mga foreigners sa bansa natin. Baka mamaya, nawawala na rin yung ano natin, yung kasarinlan natin o yung autonomy natin over our residents, no? So, try to imagine class, no? Ang Pilipinas, halimbawa, karamihan ng investors, panay na mga foreigner. So, ano mangyayari? So, sila na ang nasusunod. So, kaya ang government natin, merong policy na pinapatupad. Pwede kang magmamay-ari ng business for as long as the majority must still be Filipinos. Pero alam naman natin, 'di ba? Off the record naman, 'di ba, na yung iba gumagamit lang talaga ng mga pangalan ng Pilipino. Tama, hindi. Minsan nga yung mga nababasa ko ano, yung pangalan ng kanilang kasambahay ginagamit as owner para lang maaprubahan yung kanilang application, no? Ma-recognize yung kanilang business. Pero sa totoo, hindi naman talaga owner yun. Ginagamit lang yung identity nila para maaprubahan yung application nila for business. Okay? So next, home country home country benefits. Okay? So, medyo nag-slow down lang yung aking ano. Okay, number 1. The effect on the capital account of the home country's balance of payments from the inward flow of foreign earnings. So, syempre, pag maraming investment, dagdag po yun sa ating balance of payments. Okay? The employment effect that arise from outward FDI. So, employment effects, mas maraming investment, again, mas maraming employment. Okay? The gains from learning valuable skills from foreign markets. No? So, pag tinuro natin, no, sa ibang bansa yung valuable skills natin, may tendency class na yung resident doon, no, matututunan nila and eventually sila na mismo ang gagawa nun para sa atin. Yan ang exactly class ang nangyari sa if you are familiar with the so-called Saudization, ito naman nangyari siyempre sa Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, no? Before class, ang daming mga Filipinos na nagtatrabaho sa Saudi. Kasi nga kailangan nila ng ano ng valuable skills na hindi kayang i-provide ng mga residents nila doon. But dumating tayo sa panahon na kung saan yung mga residents nila educated na rin, marunong na rin sa mga trabaho na pino-provide ng mga Pilipino. So, nagkaroon sila ng ano doon class, pinatupad nila yung tinatawag na Saudization. Ibig sabihin, priority na nila na resident nila ang magtrabaho sa mga offices na nangangailangan ng mga skills. So, ano nangyari sa mga Filipinos at sa ibang mga lahi? Inano sila, kumbaga inofera na lang sila na umalis na lang. Kasi yun na yung ano nila, yun na yung nangyari. Natuto na sila, nalaman na nila, so bakit pa sila magbabayad ng iba kung kaya naman nilang gawin. Okay? So next. So this is the ano class, the current account and then the capital account of the balance of payments. Okay? So ano-ano ba yung i-discuss ko lang briefly class ha. Ano ba ang kadalasan na ginagawa kasi class etong current, no? Current balance of payments ang nangyayari sa atin. So dalawa ito. Isang papasok, coming in, at isang going out. So ano-ano mga example ng mga nagpapadagdag sa balance of payment natin? Una dyan class, yung mga exported goods or services. Pag nag-export tayo, credit po yun sa balance of payments. Number 2, remittances received. Pag merong mga padala, yung mga kamag-anak natin sa ibang bansa, mga remittances, no? Dagdag din po yun sa balance of payments. Okay? And then, factor income earned abroad. So, yung may mga Filipinos na nagmamay-ari ng mga businesses abroad. So, yung mga kinikita doon, credit din po yun sa balance of payment. So, ano naman ang mga bawas? Bawas naman, okay? Ang nagpapabawas class ay pagka kumukuha tayo ng mga imported goods. Ayan o, imported goods and services. Bawas po yun sa balance of payment natin. Ano pa? Remittances paid. Halimbawa, nagbayad tayo ng utang panlabas natin, no? Bawas po yun sa balance of payments natin. And then, factor income paid abroad. So pagka nagbayad naman tayo ng mga kailangan nating bayaran abroad, bawas din po 'yun. Okay? So alam nyo ba in every minute of every day, ang laki ng dapat na bayaran natin na utang panlabas. No? Sabi nga nila kahit nga yung kaapu-apuhan natin may nakalaan na utang na babayaran. Saan ba ginagastos ng gobyerno yung mga inuutang nila? Okay? Bawa pupunta. Lalo na yung time ni administration class ni Gloria Arroyo, kung familiar kayo or naaalala nyo pa. Lagi siyang may mga visit abroad, no? Naghihikayat siya ng mga investors, no? Hindi lang panghihikayat ng investors ang ginagawa ni Madam. Nangungutang din siya, class. Okay? Nangungutang siya. So saan ginagamit ang inuutang na pera? So ini-invest din dito. Kaya lang syempre, kung hindi naman handled properly yung inutang na pera, class, alam nyo naman, syempre, walang babalik na kahit na puhunan. Wala nang kinita, wala pa yung puhunan. So, ang mangyayari, dagdag lang din sa kailangan bayaran ng gobyerno. Okay? So, tayo kasi, class, no, hindi kagaya ng ibang bansa na hindi na kailangan magpataw ng buwis. Kasi kayang-kaya ng gobyerno nilang mag-finance ng mga expenditures, ano? Tayo kasi, primarily, resources of funds of the government came uh, primarily sa buwis or sa taxes. Okay? Kasi naman, class, sa ibang bansa kagaya, ano naman, hawak ng government nila yung mga malalaking mga kumpanya. Kaya bawal oil, hawak ng petroleum, hawak ng government nila yun. So hindi na nila kailangan magpataw pa ng mga taxes sa tao nila, no? Dito lang kasi sa atin, ano tayo capitalist, ano tayo, mixed economy tayo kung tawagin, 'di ba? Mixed economy wherein allowed ang mga private individuals to own businesses. Sa ibang bansa kasi government lang ang allowed na magkaroon ng ganong klase ng mga businesses. Sa atin, since hindi naman talaga government lang ang may-ari ng lahat ng mga malalaking company sa atin, kaya pinapatawan tayo ng buwis. Ano lang ba yung alam nyo ng mga class? Government-owned and controlled corporations. Pag sinabi mo kasi yung government-owned and controlled corporation, pinagkakakitaan ni government. Mga corporation siya na ang primary is the government. Ano?
Yeah.
Sa bangko.
SSS.
Sa bangko, ano ang owned ng government? Come again?
Owned by government.
Oo. May alam kayo?
Yun, miss. SSS. Mga ganun.
The PWA.
Land Bank.
Land Bank.
Banks.
Yes. Before ang PNB, government-owned yun. Kaya lang ngayon kasi majority of the shares are owned by private individuals. Though part owner pa rin naman ang government. Pero hindi na siya majority sa government. Okay? So, siguro you do the research, class, ano? You do the research. Ano-ano ba yung mga government-owned and controlled corporations natin? Eto, class, pag nag-research kayo, ma-amaze kayo na every year, end of the year, nagsasubmit talaga sila ng report kung magkano yung na-contribute nila sa kaban ng gobyerno, magkano ang kinita ng particular agency na yun. Okay? So, I'll leave it to you, no, to research about the so-called government-owned and controlled corporations. Government policy, so government can implement the policies, no, encourage FDI or discourage FDI. So, may right si government na mag-encourage or mag-invite ng mga investors, or may kakayanan din siya, class, na mag-discourage ng FDI. Okay, so that ends my discussion.